Hello fans! Welcome once again to Susie Farms, where we share amazing gardening tips. One of the difficulties with new gardeners has always been weeding. Weed can prove problematic for any gardener. They pop up everywhere and anywhere, be it in between patio slabs or just right in the middle of your lawn. Wherever they sprout, weeds will hog the valuable nutrients in your soil as well as the sunlight from above, so any nearby plants will be at risk of smothering. Weeding a garden can be difficult at times. Should one weed take root in your flower bed, it can result in a lot of damage if not dealt with promptly. However, avoid using herbicides as they pollute the ecosystem and kill beneficial microorganisms. Certainly, if you're looking to keep weeds at bay in your garden, consider planting these weed-suppressing plants. They form a thick carpet, preventing harmful weeds from wreaking havoc on your yard. Here are some lush options that will help keep weeds out of your garden. With these 16 plants, to prevent weeds from taking root in your yard. Isn't it better to beautify your garden with some weed-suppressing flowering plants? Of course! Bingo! Happy gardening! Kindly like, comment, share, subscribe and turn on the notification bell as we list them out here. 1. Creeping phlox. Creeping phlox are used mainly for sunny areas with well-drained soil to cover the ground. This popular ground cover plant features an abundance of purple, pink or white flower heads when in bloom. It's low-growing and spreads to cover open areas of soil, but it can just as easily survive on rock formations, such as in between crevices on walls. It's effective at deterring weeds because of the dense area of cover it provides. The thickness of this plant prevents weed seeds from reaching the soil surface as they spread in the wind. Even if a seed does make it to the surface, there won't be enough sunlight for it to grow effectively. It produces a tight mass of green leaves that give way to shades of pink, purple, and white star-shaped flowers. The flowers appear in late winter through early spring, while the leaves remain throughout the year. It provides a bright spot in mid-spring while producing colorful flowers in shades of pink, white, and purple. Consider planting creeping phlox during spring and summer to enhance its look during non-flowering seasons. Once established, creeping phlox tolerates drought, requiring only an inch of water per week throughout summer. It's pretty drought tolerant, so don't worry if you're late to plant. Space plants about 25 centimeters apart and use some mulch to keep weeds at bay until it covers the ground. It thrives in full sun with well-draining soil. 2. Lamb's ear. Lamb's ear is a tight-forming ground cover that has gray-green leaves that create a dense carpet, making it difficult for weeds to thrive. It also produces gray stalks of lavender flowers in spring. It grows well in full sun with well-draining soil. 3. Sweet woodruff. Sweet woodruff chokes out weeds. It is another ground cover plant, which spreads outwards to cover a wide area. Its appearance is both bushy and pretty, with sporadic small white flower heads and leaves which bloom in star-like bunches. It can quickly cover a large space because it spreads through runners. When planted in shade or a part shade area, this plant can quickly take over a large area, so give it room to spread. As a ground cover plant, weed seeds can't penetrate sweet woodruff to reach the soil's surface. Sweet woodruff prefers part to full shade with moist soil conditions. It needs just minimal care as it's pretty self-sustaining, only needing water in times of drought. It spreads so successfully that it can become invasive. So, regular maintenance will be needed to shape it and keep it in check. It produces small white flowers in the spring. If you know someone already growing sweet woodruff, then they probably have plenty to share with you. 4. Creeping mazis. Creeping mazis is an ultimate weed-suppressing ground cover, with green leaves that give way to white open-faced tubular flowers in mid-spring. It forms a very dense mass, leaving little room for weeds to grow. Ideal to grow in part sun to full shade with well-draining soil. 5. Groundsel. Groundsel is sometimes called butterweed, golden ragwort, or senecio. The basal foliage spreads across the ground and forms a dense ground cover. It blooms in spring with yellow flowers. Don't forget to remove the spent flowers to keep it from self-sowing where you don't want it to grow. Groundsel prefers moist soils in shade or part sun. 6. Hardy plumbago. Hardy plumbago, or leadwort, forms a mat over the ground by spreading their rhizomes, called underground stems. You have to plant them where it can get some sun in the morning and shade during the hottest parts of the day. It prefers well-drained soil. It often needs mulch to overwinter successfully. It shows deep blue flowers in late summer and early fall, and the foliage turns orange-red in the fall. It tends to bloom in the late summer to fall, and the green leaves also fade to an attractive maroon color at this time of year. Needless to say, this is a great shrub to keep if you want to inject some color into your yard. Despite this sweet appeal, the leaves form thick and dense coverage, which makes it effective at preventing weeds. It grows tall and wide, reaching 10 feet in diameter once mature. Plumbago spreads via rhizomes, meaning it grows at a moderate to fast pace from underground, so you will need to keep an eye on its development, but it's not considered invasive. As the name implies, hardy plumbago is indeed hardy. It will grow well whether in the full sun or part shade. It's drought tolerant, so it only requires water when the soil feels dry. 7. Creeping thyme. Creeping thyme creeps along your landscape, preventing weeds from popping up. It's evergreen in mild winters and blooms profusely from early to midsummer, releasing a fragrant scent. It grows well in full sun with average dry, well-draining soil. 8. Bugleweed. Bugleweed grows spectacular stalks of tiny trumpet-shaped purple flowers, which can add immense color to a yard. It is a low-growing ground cover plant that quickly spreads mats of foliage. A thick and dense plant which will prevent weeds from taking root. They can quickly overgrow and become aggressive. So should only be grown in areas when they can be easily maintained and controlled, with limited access to grass and other plants. It grows very well in sun and shade. Bugleweed comes in several leaf colors, and some varieties even have almost black foliage. Its flowers are usually blue and appear in mid to late spring. It can bloom again from spring to fall, so there's no shortage. Bugleweed requires minimal care to thrive. It will flourish in direct sun or part shade. It can be cut off to provide a tidier look. It also tolerates some light footwalk. So you can plant it around stepping stones. Stay vigilant when growing bugleweed, cutting away runners where you don't want them to grow. Its fast-growing, dense nature makes it perfect for deterring weeds as well as filling in areas which are difficult to grow in. 9. Sedum. Sedum is good for dry and sunny conditions to keep weeds from taking hold. Most sedums, sometimes called stonecrop, are hardy and stay low to the ground. If you can't decide which variety to plant, try a sedum mix of several types. 10. Hosta, or plantain lilies. Hosta has thick leaves, with different varieties of multiple colors. It flowers with erect stalks of purple or white blooms. Their scent will attract hummingbirds to your yard. Hostas come in all shapes and sizes, but they all produce an excess of shade on the soil due to their overlapping, thick leaves. This makes them an effective ground cover that prevents weed seeds from growing. Hostas grow well in the shade and often cover areas where there's little light and open soil, such as under trees. These are easy to grow. 11. Trailing lantana. Trailing lantana grows fast and is good for planting in large masses. Its purple flowers will attract butterflies from spring through fall. Try pruning it every other spring to rejuvenate the new trailing of lantana. 12. Mint. Mint is actually a handy herb to have around. The leaves can be harvested to flavor all kinds of dishes, and the scent is known to repel pests, such as wasps, fruit flies, and roaches. It is a fast-growing plant which produces a dense formation of thick leaves and can easily create an effective layer of cover on open soil. Mint can grow and effectively block sunlight. So, even if weeds manage to penetrate the soil's surface, it can't really grow. Mint is very invasive when competing for space and nutrients as well, which makes growth tougher for incoming weed seeds. Mint thrives in both full sun or partial shade. It is better to plant mint in containers because it grows so quickly and can smother other plants it encounters. 13. Lamium. Lamium is good to brighten up shady areas. Most varieties have variegated foliage with white or purplish-pink flowers which make them stand out in the shade. They can tolerate drought and heat once established. They are not too fussy about soil. 14. Grollo sumac. Grollo sumac is good if you have a large area to cover because this shrub will spread out fast. So it won't take many plants to fill in a large area. Hardy grows well in various soils and does well in full sun or part shade. It's often planted on steep hillsides where mowing can be tricky. 15. Barrenwort. Barrenwort is also known as bishop's hat and grows well in shaded areas. The plants stay low to the ground and spread out through its rhizomes. Some people choose different varieties of barrenwort based on the flower or leaf color. Hope you can now plant your garden without worrying about weeds and extra work. Gardening is good for your health and your loved ones. Let's keep planting. Don't forget to like, comment, and follow our page and profile to keep up with updates. Happy gardening! See you soon. Cheers!